Welcome to the AC 24/7 Top Story Countdown. We'll guide you through the biggest news of the day. Our focus, advocating our rights, advocating health, and advocating Earth. Here's our pick for number 4.
There is much at stake in this federal defamation trial. E. Jean Carroll seeking more than $10 million in damages. Former President Donald Trump seeking in part to criticize the judge. First on social media, then to the cameras.
That's a nasty man. He's a nasty judge. He's a Trump-hating guy.
Carroll testified her reputation had changed after Trump's 2019 comments about her, saying, "So previously I was known simply as a journalist, and now I'm known as a liar, a fraud, and a whack job." In a separate trial last year, a jury found Trump sexually assaulted Carroll in the mid-1990s and defamed her in 2022 statements, awarding her $5 million. The day after the verdict, Trump said this on a CNN town hall.
I have no idea who the hell. She's a whack
President,
job.
you did not testify.
On Wednesday, Carroll testified she felt worthless when she heard the audience laughter and told of threats she received. Trump shook his head when Carroll accused him of sexually assaulting her. And at one point, the judge said Trump had a right to be there, but that right could be forfeited if he's disruptive. Trump threw up his hands. The judge said, "I understand you're probably eager for me to do that." Reporters in the room heard Trump say, "I would love it." When court wrapped for the day, Trump sought the last word.
And I frankly am the one that suffered damages. I should be given money, given damages.
With that, Trump said he was heading to New Hampshire to campaign for president. The trial continues Thursday. I'm Emily Schmidt reporting.
TheAdvocateChannel.com looks at the world through the lens of equality and inclusion. Subscribe, like, and share now. AC 24/7's Top Story Countdown continues with our producer's pick for number 3.
Relentless strikes piercing the night sky over Khan Yunis. Gaza, once again, plunged into eerie darkness. Endless tragedies on the ground, obscured by the longest communications blackout imposed on the Strip thus far. What little video is still able to reach the world paints a troubling picture. At the Al-Nasser hospital in Gaza's south, not only one of the last still functioning here, but also where the World Health Organization says some 7,000 people were sheltering. Families, yet again, have been forced to flee. Civilians and patients seen here carrying their children and belongings. As Israeli forces, who said they were targeting a Hamas rocket launched against the IDF from the hospital complex, close in.
There is heavy fire at the Al-Nasser hospital and in the vicinity. We're seeing huge violent bombings here. We've been trying to share video of what is happening from the highest point at the hospital, but as you can see, the bombardment is severe.
Israel maintains it is targeting Hamas infrastructure and tunnels where hostages are said to have been held, which Hamas denies. As the sun rises in Gaza, the death toll also climbs. Families carrying the bodies of those who did not survive the night. My life, this mother cries over her child. Tiny bodies wrapped in shrouds, carried in the arms of bereft parents. Now amongst the more than 10,000 children said to have been killed in a war they had no part in. Those figures, provided by the Hamas-run health ministry in Gaza, grew more shocking with each passing day. More than 24,000 people killed in just over 3 months. Israel says that some 9,000 Hamas fighters were among the dead, though CNN is unable to independently verify this claim.
These were peaceful people. They were sleeping in their homes. The Israelis told us to go to the south, so we came. But there's no safe place in Gaza. Not in the south, not in the north, not in the middle. Every area is being struck. Everywhere is dangerous.
The vast majority of Gaza's 2.3 million population are now internally displaced, concentrated in the south, where Israel's bombardment is only intensifying. The unfolding catastrophe in Gaza, now characterized by the UN's humanitarian office as a stain on the world's collective conscience. A war, they say, conducted with almost no regard for the impact on civilian life. And now, with little aid getting into the Strip, a war that is pushing Gaza past the brink of famine.
Like the Advocate channel on Facebook for the best way to get updates on stories that advocate for equality, justice, our rights, and more. AC 24/7 continues with today's top 2 pick.
Fairfax County 911, where is your emergency?
Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin's hospitalization was a secret from the start. At 7:11 p.m. on New Year's Day, an aide to Austin called 911.
My name is and I work for...
In a recording of the call obtained by CNN, the aide's name is redacted, so is Austin's. But the street matches the address of the defense secretary's home. The aide asks the 911 dispatcher for the ambulance to remain silent, a request any caller can make.
Can I ask, but can the ambulance not show up with lights and sirens? We're trying to remain a little subtle.
The dispatcher acknowledges the request, but says the ambulance cannot fully comply.
Yeah, I understand. Usually when they turn into a residential neighborhood, they'll turn them off, but they're required by law to run with them with the main street.
On Wednesday, the Pentagon wouldn't say why Austin's aide wanted the ambulance to be subtle.
We're reviewing this. The Secretary has, again, taken responsibility in terms of the need for transparency as it relates to his medical care.
Austin was taken to Walter Reed National Military Medical Center with complications from a surgery to treat prostate cancer on December 22nd, a diagnosis that wasn't immediately disclosed to President Joe Biden or other senior national security officials.
Is he reporting any chest pain at all?
No.
Okay. Did he pass out, or does he feel like he's going to pass out?
No.
Okay. And like you said, he's awake, he's alert and oriented, he's not confused or anything like that, correct?
Correct.
One day later, Austin was admitted to the intensive care unit. It would be another 48 hours before the president knew Austin was in the hospital, and one more day after that until Congress and the public were notified. But Austin's initial diagnosis with prostate cancer, which occurred in early December, wasn't known until January 9th.
Do you have confidence in Secretary Austin?
I do.
I'm sorry. How you doing? Was it a lapse in judgment for him not to tell you earlier?
Yes.
Austin spent 2 weeks at Walter Reed Medical Center at a critical time for U.S. national security. The war in Gaza raged into its 4th month. Iranian proxies attacked international shipping in the Red Sea and launched more attacks on U.S. forces in Iraq and Syria. And the U.S. carried out strikes against the Houthis in Yemen, which Austin authorized from the hospital.
Follow the Advocate channel on Twitter and Instagram to stay updated on stories that matter every day. Here's our number 1 story of the day. Take a look.
You cannot do things with one party in a divided Congress.
Tomorrow is the last day of funding for segments of the federal government. That's unless lawmakers can prevent a partial government shutdown. It would affect military construction, veterans, transportation, the Energy Department, and more. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer says his chamber should be able to vote on and pass a stopgap measure today. It would create new funding deadlines of March 1st and 8th. And it's partly the work of the House Speaker.
In spite of what people are saying on both sides, this is a better agreement than we had.
But the sticking point with funding the government right now isn't about funding the government.
Border. We have to secure our own border before we talk about doing anything else.
Senators are working on a bipartisan immigration deal.
There was also an openness to, in a bipartisan way, addressing the situation at the border.
The trouble is crafting a plan both Senate Democrats and hardline House Republicans can support by tomorrow night.
If the bill looks like some of the things that have been rumored, of course it's dead in the House because it wouldn't solve the problem.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
Thanks for watching the Advocate channel's top stories. We're on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube. Follow, like, and share, or check out advocatechannel.com for even more stories that advocate for you.